Kalispell, lifelong resident of Kalispell, a couple generations, not that that makes me any more qualified to speak. I have spent the last 20 years dealing with folks charged with crimes in this area. I'm the managing attorney for the Public Defender Office. And every morning we go to the jail and we talk to people that have been arrested, usually the night before. There's one thing that I want to talk about that really hasn't been directly addressed, and I think it's one of the probably intervening, superseding causes of what you guys are facing. I've heard a lot of people come up to this podium and talk about extreme behavior, and it's not okay. I mean, what people are talking about is serious, and I appreciate you guys listening. I should also mention I'm on the board of the Warming Center. I'm on the board of the Warming Center because I want to be part of the solution to this extremely difficult problem. And we all need to be part of the solution of this extremely difficult problem. And so thank you for listening, and we look forward to working with you again. But I want to say this. Mental illness is such a huge contributing factor to what we're talking about tonight. And I want to give you a brief history lesson. I'm one of the last guys to speak. No, I'm not. Good. And so it's not going to be a long history lesson. It's going to be very brief. When I started doing this work back in probably 2004, before the Public Defender Office was created as a statewide agency, we had more robust services, behavioral health services, by far than we do today. I used to be able to get people out of jail and into services easily. Now it's almost impossible for me to do that. In 2017, we lost case management services throughout this state, and we were hit particularly hard in this community. What that meant is people that are mentally ill don't get help going to their appointments. They go off of their medication. They decompensate in the community, and they end up in the jail. We have a record number of mentally ill people in the jail. Talk to anybody at the detention center. I'm sure you guys know this. It's extremely frustrating for KPD and law enforcement of all kinds. My heart goes out to those guys. They do really good work, and I appreciate what they do. But here's the deal. 10 years ago, we had 142 petitions to file, right? We all know that we don't have behavioral health services now like we did before. But 10 years ago, in 2014, 142 involuntary commitment petitions were filed. That's what happens when you have people decompensating in the community, creating a huge disruption in the community, being naked, doing things, spitting, doing things that are really dramatic and difficult to deal with. So that were 142 petitions, 142 people that were swept off the street, diverted either to the state hospital or within the community where they could get services. That was back in 2014, right? That was before the explosion in growth that we've experienced. That was before the dissipation of services. But we still have that emergency sort of release valve at the state hospital, right? And so with everything that's happened, you go 10 years later now, what would you expect that number to be? Because we can't help them in the community like we once could. You would expect that number to be like 250 or 300, right? It probably should be. Do you know what that number is this year? In the first 5 months, going back to November, how many involuntary commitment petitions that have been filed? Zero. Exactly zero. So what does that mean? We have people decompensating all around us because they're not getting the mental health services that they desperately need. And that's what people are seeing in this community. And I will tell you that the Warming Center has to deal with that too. And it's profoundly sad because I have seen people throughout the course of my career rebound from being in that position, take medications, come back to the community, have a case manager, and be productive citizens. But if you know somebody that has a severe mental illness like bipolar, schizophrenia, they don't have insight into their condition. And if they don't have help, they're going to go right back to where they were before. So we can send them to the state hospital. But right now, it's almost impossible to get people to the state hospital. So I want you to consider that. We've got clients that have over 30, count them 30, trespass charges, disorderly conduct charges. They're the same individuals that are appearing again and again. And I promise you, there are multiple calls for every single one of them. Your data is skewed. And I would tell you that it is skewed because of mentally ill people we have in this community, some of whom aren't allowed into the Warming Center because of behavioral issues. And so if you're thinking that's the problem of the Warming Center, I promise you it's not. But please, let's work together. And together we really can. Maybe not solve this problem, but we can make it better. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.